I'm just looking at my handiwork here. So there's enough room here for the box and the tire to be mounted and still not hit my little... There's stuff that's been in here 20 years. But yeah, I'm gonna do a quick tour of Hollywood this morning. I gotta go get fasteners for the plates that I have to go to the shop and cut this morning for the inside of that bumper. And then I have to get... Oh yeah, what else do I have to get? I gotta get... Oh, a license plate holder with a light on it that I can mount to the face of that bumper and relocate the license plate. I gotta do that wiring. That's important because once I get that done, I can put the storage box and the tire on the rear. I gotta get lug nuts that'll fit those bolts on the back of that and then see if the tire will even mount to that. If it doesn't, I have to move those bolts, change that pattern. We might get some rain here this weekend too, so I want to do all that. But I'm also going to drive you by a couple places. I don't know if they'll be in this video or not, but I got to shoot some B-roll. I'm so pro. Of two joints I used to work at. So there's a gal, and I'll tell the story tomorrow, but she posted something. She sells stuff, disco trash, on Instagram. She sells really cool stuff that she finds, and she found this fiber optic lamp. I'll try to screenshot that and put it in that video. It's the same lamp that is behind a bar. It's a strip joint called Gold Diggers here on Santa Monica Boulevard, where I used to work the door there. I was the door guy, bouncer. I was the only guy doing the job. That was a dangerous place to work. And I got that job because the guy who owned the security company I worked for had hired me to do security at the Palace, which is no longer there. But we're going to go by there real quick so I can show that off. I got a ton of stories about, you know, doing crazy shit in there and seeing things and having wild experiences. It's pretty crazy, man, who I was, you know, before I was 30. I was like a superhero. I did crazy stuff, man. And I'm only 5'9". So to work as a bouncer and do that job at my size, it's kind of impressive when you look back at it. And I always felt like you should be well over 6 feet and well over 200 pounds to really do that job, just for the intimidation factor alone. But I got a good presence about me. So anyhow, you'll see that. I'll just show it to you real quick. I'll probably show that in this video, but then use those clips again when I do tomorrow night's Sunday night chat. It's going to be an entertaining video. Should be kind of funny and kind of scary at the same time. It was a wild time in my life. Let's go see what I can get myself into this morning, get this stuff, go to the shop real quick, cut these plates, and then I might do all the work right here in my parking space where I live, so stick around. So you guys notice no engine lights or anything on this thing. You know, it's running pretty good. Knock wood. Where's the wood? Where's the wood in here? Oh, it's plywood. Well, here, there's some wood up here. There's some wood right there. Yeah. I'll knock on some wood. Sticker. It's the Hollywood sign right in front of you. Driving up Gower. I just drove past Florentine Gardens on the way here. It's still there. I used to go there. It was a club. It was a 21 and under and a 21 and over, I believe, like dance club. When I was in the Marines, I came up here in 1986. Crazy. It's still there. This used to be Pier 1. Now it's Harbor Freight. I'm going to pop in here and see if I can find what I need. And then I'll go to the other joint. Look at that thing. That's pretty friggin' cool. There it is. Gold Diggers. just like walking up to this thing. Alright, so I got a bunch of stuff. I picked up another thing. I thought I picked these up originally at Harbor Freight, but I didn't. I must have picked them up at AutoZone. So I got another set of shorty, stubby swivel sockets. These are going to be for the van toolkit. There's a few things on the van that you just can't get to without it. And I got some stainless steel hardware and lock nuts from Harbor Freight. They were like $4 for this. If I would have went to the store to just buy 4 of these, they would have been about $3 a piece, just for each bolt in stainless steel. I got a few of these to possibly zip a license plate on to the back there. Free gift from Harbor Freight. This is for steel. I know you can cut aluminum with a carbide blade, but I'm going to give this a shot just for the hell of it. And I just picked up, as it turns out, the lug nuts on the back of the van. These studs here, I don't know, I guess maybe for the earlier model vans they were smaller, because I bought these lug nuts and they were too huge, so I had to get studs. So I'm gonna have to put these studs in at the appropriate pattern so I can mount my spare on here. So that's gonna be a little bit more work, but it is what it is, and that's okay. And then I found these here in the parking lot, and these are tie rod links. And I took them because it just seems like a useful item. It could just come in handy, maybe not necessarily for the van, but for some other application. I just hate seeing that stuff in the garbage. I know I'm like a junk collector, but I'm telling you, something like this is going to come in handy for something. That was a free gift from Harbor Freight today. I know some of you are curious about this door. I put this up. It has to be 20 years or more. I think it's over 20 years old. A couple interesting things about it is, firstly, it's genuine mahogany, not African mahogany. So this stuff came from Honduras, and it's super tough stuff. Even if it starts getting gray, it's not just going to fall apart on you. This is solid stuff. Probably looks like crap up there, just because it's exposed to the weather all the time. So I had put lag bolts in here, and I guess it had been sagging over the years, and I kept adjusting things on this side with the lock. And yesterday, as you know, I put these through bolts through, and now it lines up perfect. And with all the rain we had, this would swell from time to time. So what I did was I just relieved some of this material here with a router. Now it closes better. I sunk that in further, so that's better. And you see this angle stop here? That's because, you know, the walls, this wall here, the angle of that wall, right, does not match this one. And there was an old gate here, and I had to use the old bracketry hardware, hinge hardware that was on the old gate, which was kind of garbage. And, you know, that wall tilts in, this wall tilts out. So I had to come up with this kooky system, and then it's been moving. So I also had to relieve some of that material down there yesterday because it was hitting that and then not locking. The crazy thing was this gate barely hanging by 2 bolts that were hardly in place. It would still swing and lock. And now it's just perfect. So now it comes in, and if I had the key here, I'd show you. But it just closes. I'll show you from the other side. The only bummer for me is that now we have these bolts that you can see here, which is not the end of the world. And this gate needs to be sanded and coated again. They usually will hire somebody for that because I typically don't have the time. It's a real project. So, but I'll just show you. Closed, locked. I mean, it's perfect, and that's where I put it 20 years ago, so it's still working flawlessly here. All right, there's 2 minutes of that. Let's get back to what I'm here for. All right, so we're at the bumper. I just figured I'd show you this. Everybody was right. We got no crack on this weld here yet, but under here, you can see that crack running right down the center of the weld. Can't miss it. It's not the whole weld, but it's a good portion of it. And I'll show you on the inside why that happened. Now on the back side here, looks okay, which is good. By the way, I'm not talking smack with this guy. He got this thing done in a timely way. The only odd thing I would say about it is my buddy Chad, he's a bicycle guy. As soon as he saw this, first thing he said was, that needs to be plated. And then, I'm sorry, but that needs to be plated is what he said. And everybody else who's looked at this, same thing. So you'll see here, it's not flush here, these two pieces. So I think that has something to do with it. So I've got this aluminum here. Oh boy, I don't know. With this weld here, it's gonna be a problem. So what I'll do is I'll cut a rip that's that tall. And it'll go from this point to this point, and I'll put some bolts in that. And then on this bottom, I'll cut a piece to avoid that so it lays relatively flat, and I'll put it here across. I'm not worried about the holes. There's other holes in here, but I can drill a couple new holes after the fact, no big deal. And then up here, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna go over these because I'm not gonna grind that down. So there'll be a little flex in this plate that I put in here, but it'll go from here to here. And we'll just make those parts real quick from this 1/4 inch. The arbor doesn't fit on this saw. So I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to mount that to, so I guess I'm bringing that back. What a bummer. I gotta break out the Festool. So you can see the issue here, like stuff gets piled up when I'm doing certain projects or unloading the van, and it just turns into a nightmare. And my Festool is buried underneath there, and the blades are underneath there. So I gotta move all this stuff out of the way now just to get that tool so I can make a couple cuts. So it's highly annoying. I have to, depending on what I'm doing, you know, this car has to come in here every night, so everything has to get pushed out of the way. And if I'm doing woodworking, all this stuff gets put up and away, and I'm set up for woodworking. If I gotta do metal stuff, I gotta put away all the woodworking stuff, get the metal stuff out and do that. If I gotta find bolts or whatever, I gotta dig that stuff out, and you know, so it's not a perfect setup. It makes things take longer. It's kind of a hassle, but it's all I got. All right, I just switched the blade. You'll see on the blade here, it says 495383. And that is this blade here, which is good for aluminum. I've used this before. I bought it specifically for that. That's how I cut a lot of this stuff. And this material is 7, let's see what this is here. 7 3/8 of an inch wide. I was gonna cut 1 foot sections, but I think that's wide enough. This would be like 3 11/16 on either side of the seam, and I could cut those whatever width I want now, and I'll just make up 3 of those. And I don't know if I'll do this here or if I'll go home and do it in my parking lot, because then I could just take breaks, relax, and do other things. I got phone calls and other things to do. All right, so it works out to where I could do 3 4-inch pieces. They'll all fit in there. I want to point out too that the guy that did the job, right, to cut the bumper and everything, he's cool. Dave talked to him. He said he'd be willing to fix it, you know, get it right. Thing is he's way out in Simi Valley, and that's time and fuel for me to get there and come back, on top of however long it would take him to do that. And I don't know what he would do, if he would weld these in place or not. But if I bolt them in place now, I could always maybe catch up to him another time and possibly have him get in there and weld the perimeter of these inside there at some later date. But I think the bolts will be enough. I think it'll be okay. And yeah, I might as well knock some of these edges down. At the moment, there's actually aluminum buildup on this file. That's how I've used it before for this purpose. Anyhow, let's go ahead and Cut those suckers off right quick. Now, this saw is meant to be used with a track, but I think I can see it and get a straight enough line. With my peepers on, now that reminds me, there's a little divot here. That's what I wanted to file, because it'll tip the saw. Can't see where the blade begins to cut from that side. Walk on me a little bit. We're okay though. Keep in mind, these plates do not need to be perfect. They're going on the inside of that bumper. I was thinking too about that, because this bumper, it's 1/8 inch thick, approximately, aluminum. It sure would be nice if it had been 1/4 inch. Keep in mind, twice the weight. All right. What's nice about this is they'll work. They'll do the job, and then I still got some of this material left over. I bought this back when I had this crazy idea. Maybe I find the pictures and insert them. I was making these racks where I was laminating wood like I used to do with my cutting boards, which I don't make anymore. And that's how I made all the bracketry for the rack systems for the bicycles out of this 1/4 inch stuff. And it really did. It came out real cool. And people wanted them. They said they wanted to buy them from me, and I just didn't get into it, because it just, the thing about wood is you've got to upkeep it. You know, you got to keep it looking good if it's outside, and most people just don't do it. So it'll look good now, and then it's not going to look good later. And pretty soon it's going to start not looking good. So unless you got like a bike that you keep in the house all the time, which a lot of these guys do, not worth the aggravation. Yeah. I'm going to file up these edges and then make a decision of whether or not I want to put them on here, or if I want to go over to my pad and do it in the parking lot there, get the license plate mounted and everything else. I don't know if I have the right size drill bit for these studs that I bought. But I got to figure that out and get those on. I just want to stick with this instead of doing anything else because I want to just get this done so I don't have to think about it anymore. I still have to get those lights and yeah. Anyhow, let me keep working. Watch me stand here think. It can't be very entertaining. Is there smoke coming out of my head? So the only thing on this one here, there is weld there, and I didn't want to just put it on there and bolt it because of the weld. This pivots, and I thought it might flex it and make it want to crack. So I'm going to put a washer between the plate and the bumper when I put that one on. Below, I'll put that dead flat on there. That'll work out fine. And then here, I'll have to figure that one out too on the back side, but that's what I'm working on. And for those nuts, I'm going to break out my little mini tool kit here. I did a video on this, and it's got, I think it did pretty well on the views. And I just wanted to point out, I actually use this thing quite often. All right, so I know I got some sockets in here, and I'm not sure what size we need. That looks pretty close to a 10. It is not. Now I could screw it from the front, but I don't want to do that because I don't want to strip those out. So I'm hoping that one of my sockets here will be the right size. If not, I got to go to my regular toolbox. Which it looks like I'm going to have to do. Or, yeah, I'm going to have to do that. All right, well, there's that. I'll put that away and get the proper socket out of my regular toolbox here. But typically, that's enough for everything I need in the van. All right. Not sure I'll be able to get the right angle on that for you to see everything. It's still going to flex a little bit, but I just felt like if it flexed that much, it might want to pull one side or the other too far. And I don't want to prematurely crack it. I mean, while I'm trying to do something that's supposed to keep it from cracking anymore, right? This is going to be a hassle. Let's start a couple. As I suspected would happen. All right. Phillips head screwdriver. Now I placed the holes in the plates in a way thinking about it being flat. Okay, so that plate is in. And what I'll do now is I will so good, I'll put a plate on the bottom and a plate on the back, and that'll make me feel better about this. And you know, that doesn't look terrible. That really doesn't bother me. I'm wondering if I should do something kooky. I bought a license plate light. I was going to put it center, but this is all a problem for mounting the light and everything. So I'm going to put it off to the side here, which will probably be pretty good because the center of the tire and everything else. So I think that's where I'm going to put the license plate. And I got to figure out running the wires through here. I got to basically pull all that out, find the 2 wires, run wires to it to the light, make sure it works. And then, I mean, I'm telling you common sense here, right? Most of you are rolling your friggin' eyes by now. But with this build, it's kind of a thing. So I have to pull those wires through here, drop them down. I'll have to get up underneath here and just thinking this out with you. I'll have to drill a hole through here somewhere and fish them through. This is going to be a real pain in the ass, isn't it? Anyhow, I'll have to figure all that out and then run them into this bumper here. I'd like to have the shortest run possible. I kind of, in a perfect world, I'd like to come through here, into here, run it through here, into the box that way. But then again, I might have to run it out over here somewhere and then just drop it straight in from the back. Thanks for the bumper, Phil. So I just dug out my old Bosch stuff, which I rarely touched. Like in the last 2 years, I don't know how often I've touched it. I have one of these screw guns at home with a battery and a charger. I gave one to my sister when I upgraded to the Makita, and I kept this. But I've also got a Sawzall, an impact driver, basically a Dremel, which is awesome, and this right angle, which is going to allow me to drill the holes in that back there. So it comes in handy from time to time. I'm charging one of the batteries, but all 3 of these batteries still had a full charge. They've been in there for 2 years. It's pretty crazy. It got too tight because of the angle of the front of this to get the drill in here, and the tire's in the way on the other side. So once I get the tire out of there, I'll pull the plate, I'll line it up from the back side, and I'll drill those bottom holes and get 4 bolts into that one. But, I mean, that's got to do the trick, right? All right, I'm not looking forward to this. Everything I'm putting up here is going to have to move because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to rip all this up. But, well, do I even need to take this out? Desert dust. Those are blackout curtains. I'll show you what this looks like here. At the end of my driveway here. People are probably going to be walking by. So that's a cedar shelf in there. You can see the dust in here. So I'll wipe all that out. And I'll leave this in here for now. So there's just these bolts here. I forget about this. This is a system I came up with to hold that tight there for some reason. But I'll go ahead and pull all this off. £197 right now. I've eaten sugar for the last 2 months. It's time to stop that crap. pretty certain I put rib nuts in here. And then I milled this up here so that the factory system would work. You should be able to see that. Get you a tight shot of that real quick. It's not brain surgery, but it helps if you know what you're doing. I like that I can sit on this bumper. I'm screwing up. That's using a, what is this, a P2? I need a P3 for those, otherwise I'll strip them out. Bear with me. That was loose. That was loose too. Ooh, it's kind of siliconed in place here. There we go. Some desert dust in there. Pretty cool little system. Now this is the box I created to hold that whole license plate box together after I removed all that metal. I had to come up with this. And so those wood screws I had in there, 2 of them were going right into here. That's these 2. Oh, okay, I gotta put that one back in. That one here was actually for this piece of plywood on the bottom of that box. So I'll put that back in later. So that's all I had here. And I backed that up with some wood. All right. How do I get this out? Look at this. It's dirty in here. Okay, I got to deconstruct this. I think. I don't remember what I did here. It looks like there's 2 parts to this. There's a part that's screwed to the original bracketry of the plastic, and then there's this back after that. Good news is it doesn't matter. I built it. I can build it again. I don't know if I want to take that off. Let's just do this. That was good. Okay. I need to get a... Maybe we'll get lucky. Nope, we're not going to get lucky. I need a socket for that. All right, yep, I now remember. I put those attached to there, screwed that to that. All right. The Now I have access to the wires for the license plate bulb right here. So what I think I'm going to do is, there's enough slack in here, I think I'm going to cut them, and then I've got some wire. It looks close to the same gauge. I don't know how that works with electricity, like if I go with a fatter wire, if that's going to interrupt or screw up the light. But I'm going to cut it here because I can always splice it back together right there if I decide I can't get this done today. But I want to cut it, put 2 wires on, put them on the light, turn the key on the car, and see if it works. Let's do a test first. Turn the key on, and you guys can eyeball this here and see if that light comes on. Well, the tail lights are on, but the license plate light's not on. That light's still not on. So I think that bulb's probably burnt out. It hasn't been working anyhow. That's crazy. I guess we'll do my experiment and see if this works. Let me break out my electrical stuff. Alright. Believe me when I tell you, less is more. It's warm today. I switched over to the bandana. I can't remember all the stuff I have or where I put it. But I know I bought these connectors that you can stick the wires in and heat it up. That guy on Pole Barn Garage talked them up. So look at this, I got corrosion on my fire starter. Oh boy. The stuff I need is probably somewhere in the van. It'll probably take me 5 or 10 minutes to find everything. So I'm just gonna go ahead and run to it. I got a brown wire and a black wire. I'm gonna guess the brown wire is white. We'll do a quick test on this. Easier said than done. All right, let's. And the other one went together nice. Watch every second of this. I just got another bad comment on a video I did a while ago on the injector. And the guy's like, you didn't show how to pull the injectors out. Yeah, that's because you just pull them out, man. They're stuck. You use some friggin' grip strength. The young guys today, they got the grip strength of an infant. All right, let's see if this comes on. Keep an eye on that. All right, turning the key. All right. Success. That means I got to do all this work now. All right, you know it works. Let's run all this. Let's run all this wiring. Crap! Almost wish it didn't work. I had these magnets in here with zip ties to keep the wiring out of the way. So I got to take all this apart. This is great. Whee! All right. That was fun. Not. So all these wires came out of the door here. This is for, I think, my speaker, as was this. I think these two went to the speaker. This yellow and black wire was from the factory, it had some foam on the end that was taped together. I don't know what that was supposed to be for. And this is for my license plate light. So now that that's all out of there, I gotta take some stuff out of this storage unit and see if I can drill a hole right through the floor. I don't care where, because I just want to get this done now. So we'll see if we can make all that work. And then this stuff here I'll just ball up and tape up and stick to the side, because we won't need it anymore. And this here goes to the actuator to open the back door. So I'll tidy all that up nice. Alright, so all the wiring's done. I got loom. I'll show you some close-ups. I was doing blue collar yoga slash, you know, breakdancing on this piece of cardboard over here. I'm going to pre-drill some holes here for some self-tappers, even though I should be able to spin these right in. I don't want to take that chance. I mean, these were actually kind of hard to zip in anyhow already. So let's give this a shot. I didn't even want to use these. I wanted to use these here, but I left them at the shop. So come on. I didn't mean to bend that, but that sucker's on there. Success. Wow. All right, now I can get the tire on, I can get the box on, I got to put all this back together here. And yeah, let me put that back door panel back together. We're running out of light. I'll show you what's going on underneath here right quick. I got to put this wiring back inside the loom. I use shrink wrap and electrical tape, and I just twisted them together because I didn't have my other connectors. But there's some holes back here that I ran through, or a hole. A-hole. Sorry. Let's get up underneath here. Okay. So I drilled a small hole up in there, and I wrapped electrical tape heavy and then pulled it down into the hole to kind of seal itself. Then I ran the wire through the wire loom up tight to there. These are those magnets with zip ties, just to kind of route that. Same thing here, and I poked it through the existing hole that came with the bumper. And that's, I feel pretty good about this here. I threw some electrical tape here and there on the wire loom as well. So, yeah, it just took a whole Saturday. That's all. That's all. Just a whole stinking day just about here. Thanks for the bumper, Phil. Twice. I'm going to thank Phil all the time now. Thanks, Phil. All right, I'm going to put this back together. All right, so I don't know if I grabbed the right fastener. Listen, this was for all you you dudes out there telling me you're going to get pulled over because your license plate's being blocked there. You better, you know, you're going to be pulled over. Yeah, no kidding. It's a work in progress, people. I know. I appreciate it, though. I know you care. All right. Hello. All right. Now keep in mind those are all rib nuts in there. And we'll put the factory trim piece on here. Whoops. Put that on correctly. All right, now I can pack everything up and call it done, fold that thing down, and yeah. I'll give you a parting shot here after I clean this up. Listen, that's the door actuator I got to replace. It's never friggin' ending. Hope you enjoyed this. Be good to one another. I'll catch you in the next one.